Still here, you turn your heart away from me each time I've gone here. Your eyes refuse to meet with mine, they glance away in fear. Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you going on the Clay Douglas show?
My message to those guys, if they're listening this morning, is go get a cup of coffee. Maybe you'll learn something.
We both took the same oath, to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that. Well, it doesn't show. How can I contain the anguish and the pain? Knowing that your eyes are blinded by the light.
He is the free American, Clay Douglas. Catch the Free American weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Every time I think about the damage that's been done, the anger wells inside me till I'm almost overcome. I want to tear the moon out of the sky and stop the sun.
For the podcast and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American. I'm your host. I'm Clay Douglas. My guest today and my co-host, as always on Fridays, is Russell Papalardo, the Mighty Phoenix. Hello, Russell. How are you? Hopefully, oh, wait a minute, I know what I have done here. Hang on, Russell, I can't hear you yet. Yeah, well, wait a minute, I ought to be able to. We're live. Where are you, Russell? I just had him. All right. We'll just go on whenever you get back up here, Russell. Russell, where are you? I can hear you rustling around. Speak up. Russell. Okay, I'm going to hang up on him. If you don't want to talk to me here, he can call me back. And while we're doing that, I'm going to play a clip here from a YouTube video in honor of my next story here. And well, actually, the story is the Texas House Committee approved a bill to make marijuana legal for adults. It still has a long way to go before becoming law, and I found that to play this.
When I woke up this morning, things were looking bad. Seemed like total silence was the only friend I had. Bowl of oatmeal tried to stare me down, and one. And it was 12 o'clock before I realized I was having no fun. But fortunately, I have the key to escape reality. And you may see me tonight with an illegal smile. It don't cost very much, but it lasts a long while. Won't you please?
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your
To start your show now, press 1.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Call me on the other number, Russell. It went down on me too, bud. Try it again now. trying to get mine went down and kicked me off. They're just us. They're fucking with. Call me back. Alright, we're trying to get this all working here. Waiting on Russell to call back in here. And we're trying to get this well, let's see if we can play this. Alright, still recording here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's working. Now, what about this blog talk? Where can we get Russell here on the blog talk? Okay, we'll try it a different way. Alright, Russell, do I have you here? Where do I have you? No, that's not it.
The previous subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
Keep trying here, Russell.
I've been trying.
I know, but I got you now, bud.
Hello?
I got you now here. And just
Hello?
God damn it. Yes. Hang on here. Russell, we tested this before. Hang on. Audio. God damn it. Russell. right, Russell, can you hear me now? Russell, can you hear me now? Russell, can you...
I'm here now.
God damn it.
It's terrible. Fucking terrible. I got something to say about this because this show is being censored.
Yeah. Can you hear me yet?
Now I hear you well.
Can you hear me?
Tell me what you want me to do.
I want you to hang on a minute here. I am trying to get us up. It shows we're up here. It shows I'm broadcasting here, Russell. It shows I'm doing that. I don't...
You know what happened on Blog Talk? I was in Blog Talk. Everything was fine, and all of a sudden it went dead. Then I heard a sound. Thank you. Yeah, disconnected.
Yeah. Call back to Blog Talk. Damn it. Call back. I've got that up now.
On Blog Talk.
Yeah, try that. Try that. If you can't hear me here, call back on Blog Talk, because this Skype's working all right. I'm doing Blog Talk.
All right.
Call her back.
Okay, I'll do it now.
Right.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your...
To start your show now, press 1. To hear...
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we're reconnecting you now.
All right. I have Russell Papalardo on Blog Talk now. Can you hear me all right, Russell?
Yes, I can, and let me make something clear. These fuckers out there who are interfering with this show, let me tell you this, I've studied the Kabbalah. I know the Kabbalistic curses. I will put a fucking curse on you motherfuckers. And next, know this. When you come to get me, should you do, you will never get me into a FEMA camp. I will make widows of your wives, you low-life motherfucking CIA pieces of shit. You Mossad motherfucker, big-nosed, bagel-eating, cream cheese on your fucking nose, bagel bread-smelling, foul-ass, insidious rodent-fucking Jews. I ain't playing no more. No fucking more.
Now, Russell.
No fucking more.
Russell.
This show is being censored because we tell the truth. We tell it like it is. We fear nothing. Nothing at all.
Russell?
And those of you out there who listen, I commend you. Go ahead, Clay.
Yeah, look, you know, you're on the Free American show here now, so you don't have to hold back. Just tell us how you really feel, all right? I don't want you holding back. Look, we are having...
You're a funny guy, Clay.
We are having fun here. We are having fun here. And I'm kind of tickled here because one of my news stories, I'm going to share that with you right now. It's up on Free American. It's up on Free American 69 on Facebook. Free American 69 in Facebook. And the latest news is right below the article on, or the notice of this show with Russell and I. The Texas House Committee approved a bill to make marijuana legal for adults. It still has a long way to go before becoming law. What do you think? What do you think? Well, I've got a clip here from YouTube. If YouTube will allow me to use this, and I don't care whether they allow it or not, I'm going to share it with you. A clip. Just a clip here.
When I woke up this morning, things were looking bad. Seemed like total silence was the only friend I had.
And by the way, that again, we're kind of right on here because the the news that we'll be sharing with you is they expect an extinction level false flag event is underway under the name September 23rd, 2015. Now, we'll be talking about that later because it gets on what I would call the realm of science fiction that I wrote about 45 years ago. 45 years ago, before the internet. How did we, and Russell knows exactly what I'm talking about, the Anunnaki, Lucifer, the gods that were created for you. I mean, come on, folks. This is what is happening now. And I wrote about the legalization of marijuana in 46 states 45 years ago. 45 years ago. So, this,
I want to make a statement in regard to the Anunnaki.
Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, let me tell you the origins of the Anunnaki in Gnostic tradition, the tradition of the Magi of Persia, the shamans of Africa, and the Gnostic tradition of the Greeks, way before the Redeemer religions. The God that we Gnostics know who is the supreme being of this universe, who lives in a place called the Planora in the center of the galaxy, is called the Christos. The Christos is not Jesus. Jesus is one with the Christos. The real Jesus, not the wimpy Jesus that was Judaicized by the Pharisees in their writings. He is a consort. He is one with wisdom, who is the divine feminine. The Christos is divine masculine. The divine feminine is wisdom or the Holy Spirit. The Jews call her Shekinah. The Gnostics, we call her Pistis Sophia. The word Sophia, the word philosophy, comes from the philo, love, Sophi, philosophy. The divine feminine decided she wanted to do something for the Christos. She wanted to create sons and daughters without the Christos, to surprise him, to make him happy, because she's a benevolent being. And what she did was she created these beings who turned out to be the Anunnaki, or Ialdabaoth, or the Enlil, Yahweh's grandfather. And they turned out to be monsters because they lacked the fire from the Christos within. Audience, folks out there listening today, you have to understand this. She made a mistake, but she did it with good, noble intentions. The Christos, of course, they tried to rape her and plunder her, but she was too smart. She let them rape an apparition. What she did then, she knew man, who would be created shortly by no matter what the time span may be, by the Christos, would have no chance against these Anunnaki, or these archons, as the Gnostics call them. Remember that word, archons. Look them up. So what she did a wonderful thing for us. She gave us something that the archons don't have. It's called luminous epinoia, which means creative imagination. Yeah, folks, we have the imagination to beat the archons at their own game, because the archons can only copy. They can't create. However, what they did do is they recreated us. In essence, they parasite. And that's the problem with the world today. And the Jews, who do they worship? The archons. Wake up, folks. It's a very, very sorry state. They don't want you to hear this information. Why? Because it's true. Why did they ban Free American magazine that Clay founded years ago? Why?
Yeah, I'd love to know.
of rebellion. They want a negative universe, and they just about got it. It's time to wake up, rise up, and stop these evil, cantankerous, heinous, and insidious beings. And you got to start by alienating yourselves from the Jews, and I mean all the Jews,
now,
because even the good Jews.
Yeah,
not many of them
if you find them, if you can find them, and they killed him. We had one Jew that stood up to him. His name was Jack Hara. He told you he wrote the book with my help of about the whole story of marijuana and why it was made illegal here. So because that smoking a joint removes you from their control and puts you in touch with the Creator who gave us the plant of renown. Now, I just
right.
And 45 years ago, I went to prison for a year and a half for having a little bit of marijuana in Texas. Now, you can get 99 years, Clay, but this lawyer, who will make the president of the Bar Association if he gives you to us. That exactly happened. Now, I wrote science fiction 45 years ago that is occurring now. I wrote about the marijuana being legal in 49 states, and now marijuana, they're trying to get it legal in Texas. I think they got a hard road to hoe, but I hope it does come true, because I don't want to see any other kid go through prison and be pulled into this web, this prison industrial complex. And because of that, I'm playing this. Hang on.
Things were looking bad. Seemed like total silence was the only friend I had. Old oatmeal tried to stare me down, and one. And it was 12 o'clock before I realized I was having no fun. Now, but fortunately, I have the key to escape reality. And you may see tonight with an evil smile. It don't cost very much, but it lasts a long while. Won't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone? No, I'm just trying to have me some fun.
I've been kind of...
I'd like to say something about this.
Go ahead. About this what?
This so-called marijuana bill, if it's passed. Am I happy with it? Not really, and I'll tell you why. Because they'll poison the marijuana and make it non-effective. They'll add something to it. They'll add a blocker to it. I don't trust the government, and I'm going to go into why in a moment.
They got a patent on it.
The only way that it's going to work... wait a minute. The only way it's going to work is if you're allowed to grow your own in your own yard.
Absolutely.
That's the only way it's going to work, that you know it is pure. Marijuana, I haven't smoked it in about a month, unfortunately, because my source is gone. Do I smoke marijuana? Of course I smoke marijuana, and so do the lawyers and the politicians. Folks, you people have been lied to so much. It's real. Like I've said many times, you've been had, taken, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and put to sleep. In other words, you've been mind-fucked. You got to understand something. The work, and I'm going to say this, the whole system is corrupt. The system should be destroyed, not restructured. It should be destroyed. Statism is slavery. First of all, the word government, and I've said it before, and for those who haven't heard it, I'm going to say it again, comes from two Latin words. The word gubernator, which means steer, direct, and control, and the word mentis, which means mind. So government is mind control, nothing more, nothing less. The word politician comes from two Greek words, poly, meaning many, and ticks. A tick is a parasite. So a politician is nothing more, politics are nothing more than many, a collective oligarch, a collection of many ticks and parasites who prey on you and pass law after law under the guise of the greater good, which is only a guise, a sham, a charade, a falsehood, because they do it to take away your freedom. no matter what they say before they're elected. So the elections are a sham. They're illusions of choice. There is no politician who runs for office who gets airtime on Zionist-controlled television who is not picked and hand-chosen by the Israeli lobby, who is part of the B'nai Brit Freemasonic Jewish Lodge, of course controlled by the Synagogue of Satan, the House of Rothschild. Next word is police. The word police comes from, again, many, and lice. Many ticks, many lice. Police are lice. A janitorial service designed to clean up the mess after one has been raped, robbed, beaten, or murdered. They serve no use except for their masters, their who are masters, the Jews who own America. And if you doubt that, Google America Vanquished, now an Israeli colony, parts 1 and 2. Also, YouTube Obama's Jewish government, because Obama's government, like Bush's, is run primarily by neocon, well, Obama's entirely, all neocon, Talmudic Zionist Jews. Simple as that, cut and dry. You must understand those three words. Otherwise, you will be continued to be had, taken, hoodwinked, and bamboozled. Your school system, as Clay calls it, is the public fool system. It's a system of gross indoctrination and brainwashing by mongrel dogs who teach and is under total Zionist Jewish control. If the teacher is not a Jew, he's a Christian Zionist, which is even worse, because that's the lowest piece of shit. Any Christian who says that they support Israel, like the Tea Party. The Tea Party sucks. They're full of shit. I have more respect for the liberals who believe what they're talking about than the Tea Party. Any person who supports Israel should be hung for treason. The military is nothing more than a collective today, maybe not in the past, but in the old days, but yeah, it's still in the old days, but today they know. They serve the military-industrial complex, which is again by Jews. All wars are fought for Israel. Which brings me to ISIS. ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, is a Jewish-controlled organization. They're causing problems in the Ukraine now because the Ukraine was formerly Khazaria. Khazaria was the place where the Turco-Finnish Mongoloid race of modern-day Jews came from in the early years of Anno Domini, after Christ. They converted in 600 AD, around that time. I'm not going to give you specific dates. And what they converted to a religion called Talmudism, which before that was called Phariseeism. Before that was called Torah Yahwehism or Habaruism or Hebrewism. And they mingled that during the Babylonian captivity with the corrupted teachings of Zoroaster and came out with Phariseeism. They have controlled Judaism ever since. These are bona fide facts, folks.
Now, wait a minute. Well, just a minute.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Russell, let me point out a couple of things here. One, all of the occult and the people that got into the occult that were evil, because there's a lot of people that follow the teachings and the history of Lucifer that aren't evil at all, and Lucifer wasn't the devil either. So, just, but these same Jews,
Lucifer is the light bearer.
The Jews took it over. They took it over and infiltrated the occultism and tried to make it into a bad thing. This is what they do.
Absolutely. It's the same thing with the pentagram. You know, the pentagram is actually the symbol of the elder gods as a form of protection against evil. If the star is pointed upright, when it's turned down, it gives no protection and susceptibility. That's why in the Freemasonic Bible, and the Freemasons do not worship Lucifer, they only say they do. They worship Satan. They worship Jabulon is the correct word, another name for certain. Jabulon. Look it up if you could find it, because these things have been hidden to you. That's why Clay and I do this show, because we take the occult, which means nothing more than that which is hidden from you, and we make it open to you so you could wake the fuck up.
Now,
because you folks are in America, not all listeners. All listeners in the main are good standing people. They're not Judeo-Christians. They know the sham of Judeo-Christianity. They know it's nothing more than a Jewish cult. Jewish Christians, as Clay said, I believe he did, he calls them satanic Christians, and that they are, because Yahweh is the devil. Yahweh is the grandson of Enlil. If you study Sumerian mythology, and every myth is based on fact, he is of the Anunnaki, an archon. Yahweh is also known as the moon god Sin, or the storm god of the High Coast Kings. He's good at one thing and one thing only, if he's still alive, and that's to wage war against humanity and turn the world into an open Jew world order. Not that he has any love for the Jews, he can't stand them either. But he uses them because they're very susceptible, because they want to be politically correct. How many Jews do you see as football players? How many Jews do you see as baseball players? How many Jews do you see fighting in the ring? Very minimal. Why? Because they're wimps. They got no balls. They got no heart. So they use Judeo-Christians as their army, their weaponry. This is where it's at, folks, and if you can't admit that, and if you're afraid to admit that, you're nothing but a spineless fucking coward. And yeah, I'm using profanity because I'm dealing with the profane.
now,
You don't like it? That's a thing of no interest, because frankly, I don't give a frack.
all right, let me share
I'm not
this
in a
with
good mood today, folks. I'm not in a good mood because of what's going on with the censorship of this show.
Well, we've
That's
got the
why I have
show.
no respect for this country.
It's working now, so let's move on here. One of the stories that I wanted to talk about that just came across my desk today, and by the way, let me repeat something. This is the 21st century. God's alive and well, and he uses the internet. He probably is the internet. And I got this story over today, so that's why one of the reasons I think it's important. It's from Alfred Lamont Weber, who I've had on my show before. He's talking about an initial phase of September 23rd, 2015. You can click on that date on my website, freeamerican.com, and go there and share this. That is a phrase around the final Tetrad Lunar eclipse of 2014-15, initiating a peace and security phase of the false flag. The final phase of the false flag is scheduled for a year later, technically on the Jewish Day of Atonement, 2016, October 11th through 12th, 2016. He says that on this Jewish Day of Atonement was planned principally in the fourth and third consciousness densities along an old catastrophic timeline, is being implemented by the following consortium of controllers still in duality consciousness. It's previously been reported that the hidden controllers of humanity, and Russell just named them the Archons, have set up the Jews as a tribal ethnicity of social patsies or mind control collectives for Tetrad Lunar cointelpro-like events, including the Saturn-Moon mind control matrix under the control of the descendants of the giants, crypto-terrestrials, originating from the planet Marduk, or the asteroid belt, and is now settled in the rings of Saturn, Mars, Earth, and Moon, and Earth itself. The hidden controllers of the September 23rd, 2015 false flag can also be classified from the ranks of such documented controller classes as Dracos, Orion Greys, Anunnaki, ancient Vampire Illuminati, Zionist Illuminati, Jesuits, bankers, monarchies, Coneheads, operatives of the VatLonUSA, the three-city state empire of the Vatican-City of London-Washington, District of Columbia. founded in 1871. The three cities, and we've told you that over and over again. Now, Illuminati shill, Skull and Bones member John Kerry, a Yale schoolmate. Oops, where do we go? And it's John Kerry. He's a member of the Skull and Bones, second chapter of the Bavarian Illuminati, established at Yale University in 1776 to subvert the American Republic to Illuminati designs. Kerry was apparently tasked by the September 23rd controllers to stage the public announcement of the end date, or mass kill date of the year-long false flag, which is the Jewish Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, or 500 days from the public statement made in the company of French foreign minister who served as Kerry's spokesperson for the Illuminati coded announcement. And they're talking about climate chaos is a code for the 2013 false flag event. And I've got a little video here of the French foreign minister and John Kerry, and France has just passed more laws that allow them to go in and come after the populace and the individuals. Let's see what this French foreign minister and Secretary of State John Kerry, is he Secretary of State now? I guess he is. Let's see what they have to say. We have 500 days to avoid climate chaos.
We have 500 days to avoid the climate chaos. Very important issue of climate change, climate chaos, and we have, I think that we have 500 days to avoid the climate chaos, and I know that President Obama and John Kerry himself are committed on this subject, and I'm sure that with them, with a lot of other friends, we should be able to reach a success in this very important matter.
All right. That was the French foreign minister standing with Kerry. Now, what we are saying here, what I just shared with you here, sounds like science fiction. It sounded like science fiction, and I thought it was science fiction when I wrote about it 45 years ago, before the internet, before computers. Russell.
I agree, Clay. I agree. John Kerry, his real name, to my knowledge, is John Cone. And speaking about the Coneheads, I wonder how many of you out there know that Dan Aykroyd is Jewish. All joking aside, folks. The Jews always use a front. They always use a front. The Illuminati, the Nazis, Al-Qaeda, which is nothing more than a buzzword for any Arab who worked for the Mossad and the CIA since 1978. And by the way, if you watch the movie Rambo 3 when he was in Afghanistan, the Arab who he is friendly with, the leader, of course, is a prototype of Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was CIA. Of course, he had nothing to do with 9/11. He was the boogeyman. He was like Emmanuel Goldstein in George Orwell's 1984. And if you read 1984, if you read any book, any fiction book, and Clay is going to talk about his writing of fiction, fiction contains more truth than nonfiction. You got to learn to read in between the lines, and you always have to get the unabridged version. Because the abridged version, when they shorten it, they take out the meat, they take out the substance, they take out the details. And as Sherlock Holmes or Dr. Watson said to each other, and both knew very well, the devil is in the details. Folks, Clay was talking about Lucifer before. You got to understand that Lucifer is not Satan. Satan means adversary of creator. Lucifer is light bearer. In Albert Pike's book, novel, Morals and Dogma, which I have 2 copies, a hard copy and a soft copy, you will learn that Pike says that we lie to our brother Masons. They don't tell them the truth. They think they're worshiping the light, but in truth they're worshiping the dark. They worship Jabulon, as I said, Jabulon, who is a Satan. There are many Satans. Satan just means adversary of the Creator, the Creator's enemy. Jesus, you want to know who he is? Learn how to read Latin. Get a hold of the Latin Vulgate. In Peter 1, it says very clearly, I, Jesus, am Lucifer, son of the morning. Jesus is a light bearer, most likely an incarnation of Lucifer, because reincarnation, if you study it, folks, does exist. In fact, the Catholic Church taught it up until the 5th century at one of the councils of Nicaea. Got to wake up, folks. The Bible is horseshit. How the books that you see in the Bible got to be in the Bible is very interesting situation. I've said this many times. I'll say it again because you folks out there in the main are very thick-headed, and I have to drill it in you. I got to shake you, wake you, in order to break the chains that bind you and have bind you for so long. At the council, they were fighting over which book should be in the Bible. You had a few Gnostic Christians that wanted the Apocrypha, the books of the Apocrypha put in there. One of the leaders said, no, we can't have this, but I'm gonna let God decide. Yeah, they're gonna let God decide. We're gonna throw all the books on the floor, and we're gonna lock the library. And tomorrow morning, our God will put the books that he wants in the Bible on the table. Well, they locked the library. They came in the next morning, and there were a bunch of books on the table. Those are the books that went into the Bible. But they forgot one thing. They forgot to tell you who had the key to the fucking library. Folks, you got to wake up. It's like the story of Saul of Taurus, the Pharisee who murdered Gnostic Christians, because all the original Christians were Gnostics. They believed in salvation through knowledge. The application of knowledge is power. The only way to be saved. Not through a phony-ass baptism, or not through some preacher saving you. He never fell off a horse. The only horse he ever fell off of, he might have detoxed from heroin. That's the horse that he fell off.
You hardly have any space for your...
To get his act together. You guys got to really wake up, because you're really pathetic. I mean, really pathetic. It's shocking. And you're afraid to speak out about your enemies, the Jews who hate you, that call you Goyim, and you think Goyim because you ask a Jew, what does Goyim mean? He tells you, oh, it means Gentile. Horse shit. If you read the Babylonian Talmud or the Encyclopedia Judaica, it says clearly, especially in the Talmud, that the word Goyim means man-beast. They consider you a beast. That's why it's not a sin for them to steal from you, to curse you, to rape your women, to cajole your women. It's an honor. Read the Talmud. You'll find all this in there. It's the most perverse book ever written. I say it's worse than the so-called fictional Necromonicon. But probably a Necromonicon does exist. You people have to wake up. The hour is late. The tide is high, and a great storm is coming. As I said many times, there's always a lull or a period of quietude before the storm. The greater the lull, the greater the storm. And this storm will bring death and enslavement on mighty wind. Many of you will die, myself included. The rest will be thrown into FEMA concentration camps or re-education camps, prisons. And many of you will be genetically modified into hybrids through transgenetics. Google that. As Clay talked about that September 23rd, 2015, and the following year, oh yeah, it's real. It's the American Holocaust. See, if you read Agenda 21 by the UN, you would see that they want to cut down the world population. If you went to Georgia and saw the Guidestones northwest of Atlanta, you would see they want to cut down the world population from 6 or 7 billion to 500 million. That's killing or eliminating 11 out of 12 of you. I mean, if you have no respect for yourself, what about your children? You know, finding the truth is like finding a needle in a haystack. And how do you find the needle in a haystack? Well, I've been rewatching the HBO series Oz. Might have been the greatest TV series ever. Had 6 seasons. When Saeed was asked who's the Muslim character, who's a man of character and nobility, not an ounce of prejudice in him, was asked, how do you find a needle in a haystack? It's impossible. He said, no, it isn't. You just burn the haystack. Folks, you got to burn the haystack. You got to find the needle.
Now, folks,
you got to stop associating with Jews.
I have...
Go ahead.
I've told the people here, almost on every show that we do here, I've told you that about this plan. And, you know, they plan on killing us. They plan on killing you. That's absolute truth. He's telling you the truth. And it's a little scary. I understand this. It's a little scary when you start realizing that your government is the one that's trying to kill you, that the government considers us the enemy, and I've done the whole thing. I made the film True Face of FEMA, and it's for sale up at shop.freeamerican.com, the first Homeland Security meeting. I filmed that. Oops, looks like we lost Russell here. All right, let's call back in here, Russell. Do we still have you on? Yep, still broadcasting on Blog Talk. We still got Blog Talk up. I just need Russell to call back in again. We're being disconnected at every now and then. Okay, I got Russell back here. Russell, I got you back.
Oh, you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. I can now.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. You know, and you know what's happening. Let me tell you something. And this is very interesting. I either get disconnected or I get a call that says unknown caller on the caller ID, and then I try to ignore it, and then I get disconnected once they call.
Okay. What I put up on my Blog Talk Radio site, and I've had it over the last few shows, that America is now occupied by a foreign anti-America occupying force. You know it as the Department of Homeland Security. And they intend to oppress, tyrannize, disarm, and systematically mass murder up to 90% of all Americans. Every day, more and more basic freedoms and good American jobs are being removed from America. The very best cure is to completely decapitate the world Zionists from their source of fiat money powered by national money power, fiat money power, or Babylonian money magic, by nationalizing the Federal Reserve, seizing all its assets, arresting all of its directors, trying them for RICO, financial fraud, and sedition. And then all their holdings and gains, yes, even personal gains, properties, foreign bank accounts, all assets must be seized and clawed back, including their autos, homes, and personal bank accounts. All so-called American debt and deficits must be immediately canceled and considered null and void. The DHS principals, the Department of Homeland Security principals, arrested for treason and sedition and foreign espionage agents against America. You know them as neocons or dual citizen Jews, as well as these criminal RICO. What we have here, folks, and I've told you this again and again, is basically the Khazarian Mafia. And these, Jesus warned you about these 2,000 years ago. Beware the Jews who say they're Jews but are not, are of the synagogue of Satan. Now, the American police must return all military equipment they were given back to the American military, and their operations once again be performed as protecting and serving the community. We're not the anti-government. We're not the anti-Semites. We're not the right-wing extremists. We're not. We are the American people. We are you. And Russell and I are standing up at great personal risk to tell you the truth about what's going on. Russell? Did I put it properly?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. It's the fact, the Khazarian Mafia, that's what they are. They make the Italian or Sicilian Mafia look Little League. And by the way, the Sicilian Mafia, or the Casa Nostra, whatever you want to call it, and I grew up in a neighborhood ran by it, an Italian neighborhood in New York City. I can tell you this, I was 5 years old. I lived on the top of a five-story tenement. If I wanted ice cream, my dad would say, here's the money, because I was very articulate at a young age. Go down to the candy store, and at night, it was dark, and get the ice cream. He built up confidence in me, taught me how to fight. I would go down there, and all you saw was mafiosa, and they loved me. They loved me. They'd be hanging out, shooting crap on the corner. Hey, little Russell, you know. They didn't call me Phoenix then, you know, but they were good guys. Nobody would fuck with me. If they did, these guys would kill them. These were real guys. They kept the neighborhood safe. They kept the neighborhood fine. It was a great neighborhood, East Harlem. Great neighborhood. This is the way it is, folks. You have very evil people demonizing everybody else, making themselves look learned, erudite, when in truth they're nothing but a cantankerous, insidious, devilish, diabolical, heinous bunch of Turco-Finnish Mongoloids who really in truth are God and Magog of the Bible. This is the reality. And if you doubt me, because before Khazaria, they lived, and now they're not white either, they're not Caucasian, they're Mongoloid. That's why you see the Jewish women with the slanty eyes, the pretty ones, who love to fuck Italian guys. Trust me, I know. They were called the peoples of the sea. They were defeated at the Battle of Megiddo, about around 1400 BC. Prior to that, you want to know who they are? Just know the name Ashkenaz. Know where it comes from. Go to the Bible, your corrupted, tainted Bible, and find something they forgot to take out. Well, they took it out of the Masonic Bible, and they took it out of the Jewish Torah, but in all the other Bibles, it's still there. And I have 13 Bibles in my library, different variations, from the Dewey Rames to the King James to whatchamacall, not Luther. I forget whose name. It cost me $300. I got the footnotes and all. You will see they come. The name Ashkenaz Ashkenazi Jew comes from the word Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz was the son of Gomar, who was the daughter of Japheth. Read it. And it says clearly in the last line of that phrase, which has been deleted, as I said, from those two Bibles I aforementioned, states these are the lands of the Gentiles, because they are not Semitic. Shem was Semitic. You want to know who's Semitic? Unfortunately, we're Semitic. Why? Look up the word Saxon and find where it comes from. It comes from Isaac's sons. Isaac was Semitic. He was related to Shem. He's Semitic. And they say it's a black race. Nothing wrong with the black race. I get along with the black people. Cool. In my youth, I didn't because, had many bad encounters. When I did my 3 years, 49 years ago, from 66 to 69, with no felony convictions. Still wound up in Comstock, New York, in Great Meadow Correctional Institution on a drug-related charge, which I wasn't guilty of, and on an assault on a newspaper reporter who ran the editorial staff. He was a Jew, of course, by the name of Bob Green, very famous guy at the time. He wound up writing the heroin trail, which is a bunch of horseshit, blaming it on other people when it's the Jews who get the heroin in the country under their lackeys, the Judeo-Christians.
And they've been doing that.
The CIA, who are really devils.
They did that in China, at the Boxer Rebellion. People, the Chinese
After
people
rebellion, absolutely.
were fighting this and trying to oppose that. And what did they do? The communists, the Jews, and some people call it communism. I call it Judaism for the masses. Now this is Rabbi Weiss coming out and admitting this.
Yeah, his exact words. At turn of the century, he was the chief Zionist in the world. Stated, some call it Marxism, we call it Judaism. Folks, Judaism is in truth Satanism. That's all it is. Read the Babylonian Talmud. Read the Talmud. Go to YouTube. And put in the Talmud Unmasked, and you'll see all the quotes, what they're allowed to do, and what they do, and what they have done. Read the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. That Clay talks about it a lot. That they say is a forgery. Yeah, a forgery in one sense of the old definition, an unauthorized copy. Because everything in the protocols you'll see already happened. So how could it be fake? It's not a fake. It's the truth. But the Jews will demonize it.
And demonize
Read the dialogue.
I am blocked in every library across the country.
And Montague and hell.
I am blocked in every library across the country. Russell, I'm talking right now. It's a recording here. I don't know. It's your line, bud. It's your line. I can't. I'm talking here. It's recording. And
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. This. They have blocked me in every library across the country because they don't want you knowing the truth. And I've told you that this Council of Nicaea that Russell mentions, they promoted Jesus to God because they didn't want men like Russell and I and you aspiring to be the kind of man Jesus was. And Jesus told you, you can do what I do and more. It's that direct connection with God. How did you refer to it? As the light within, and Lucifer, who you could also call Jesus, was the light bearer. They tried to demonize Jesus and his teachings by calling him, by trying to get you to equate him, Lucifer, with Satan. Ain't true. This is God's angel, not necessarily. He may have rebelled against the false God, Yahweh. And that's where my books, which I wrote as science fiction 45 years ago, it's happening today. It's happening right now. And why do I know this? How do I know this? John, I've got John Prine here. Maybe you could explain it to him, John, for just a second. About that. And in Texas, after 50 years, they put me in prison to keep me from influencing people and letting people know that marijuana, that cannabis is the plant of renown. It was our #1 cash crop across America. The hemp fields were put on the back of a $20 bill. you know, I woke up this morning to think about doing this show, and I had another song. I heard another song, just came on my cell phone by Todd Snyder. And I'm not going to play that for you because his sound isn't very good. But the words are kind of important. It won't work this morning. I can't punch in. There's too many questions under my skin. My back is aching. I'm so confused. I can't help feeling like I'm being used. I didn't like what they told me. I settled down. Now I'm going crazy working downtown. What do I do here? Why do I stay? Who are all these people I check in with every day? I need room to think this over. I need to ride out to Horseshoe Lake. I want to feel like it makes a difference. What difference one man can make. They say one man makes the money, one man makes the time. I need time to think this over. I got to make up my mind. I don't need a psychic. I don't need a shrink. I need time away from all of this. I need a drink. How do I get here? Where do I go? Why am I so haunted by anything I don't know? I need room to think this over. I need a ride out to Horseshoe Lake. I want to feel like it makes a difference. What difference one man can make. I think that's important. We do make a difference. One man, me, Russell, and Alfred Lamont, who brought us this information about the archons and their plan. And what they're talking about, the point they are getting to in this article, and that's linked on my site also, is that there is going to be a worldwide climate event. But, they wouldn't destroy the world because we're on it. Under cover of this false flag, human elites are evacuated to the secret Mars colonies operated by the Mars Colony Corporation, once overseen by U.S. Vice President and David Rockefeller and Council on Foreign Relations darling Richard B. Cheney, hidden controller asset Jon Stewart, who announced his retirement unexpectedly from Comedy Central early in 2015, in coordination with the September 23, 2015 year-long false flag, recently announced that the elite Mars colony escaped through a comedy sketch on the Daily Show with Yale graduate John Hodgman, a comedian. Let's see what that sounds like. You think, again, why am I going to write science fiction from now on? Because it's closer than the truth than you'll get from the mainstream media. This is Jon Stewart and John Hodgman.
We always like to check in with our friend, deranged billionaire John Hodgman. Usually, John will give us some idea about why he's dropping by, but this time he just said he had a big announcement. So, I guess, welcome to the show, John Hodgman. John Hodgman, everybody. Nice to see you, John. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by and joining us.
Now is the camera on me? Good.
Yes.
Thank you. John, the reason I called you here today...
Well, I'm here every day. It's my show, so I mean, it's not like you...
Please, John, this is hard enough without your blubbering. I have something to say. I've been appearing on this show for almost 10 years now. This show doesn't deserve an even slightly restless, deranged billionaire. And so I'm moving on.
Really?
The point is, I'm retiring to an exclusive gated community.
Wow. You're going to Florida?
But no, John, an exclusive gated community on Mars.
This mainstream here show.
Technically, it's called Summer Wine Links at the Hellas Impact Crater. But we just call it the colony. Star Wipe. That was good.
Yeah, usually when you do a star wipe, it's to go to a different shot.
Oh, picky. You direct one movie, all of a sudden you're Francois Truffaut. Truffaut loved star wipes, by the way. Loved them. The point is, bothering you, John, was the only reason I ever stuck around on this increasingly socialist cesspool of a planet. Now, with you leaving, it's time for me to rejoin my kind.
What the? Star wipe, what? Are you saying you're a Martian?
What? No, we got rid of the Martians. They were tanking our property values. I'm just a very wealthy human who summers off-planet. John, we 0.01%ers have had a space colony for years.
Why?
Now, what have I told you? There's two classes of people on this planet. One with space travel, one without. And we are the majority without space travel. And why is the UFOs the most top secret thing on the planet? Because they don't want you to know that you can have lunch on the moon and be back in time for supper and not use a drop of gasoline. Russell, what do you think? Now, this is John Stewart, of course, a Jewish comedian, allowed to be on there, but is this like Stargate? They're giving you a little bit of truth here in the form of humor?
Absolutely, Clay. Absolutely, because there is a colony on Mars. They only show you part of Mars. They only show you the red part. And they show you that it's uninhabited. That's a bunch of lies. Mars has been colonized eons ago. But let me say something of more import. You just went through a talk about what could one man do. Well, let me augment on that and say something that's very of great import and impact. First of all, if you have that attitude, nothing will be done. Evil will triumph because good men say or do nothing. But I have my own saying on that. And it's this. In a world, especially in a nation filled with cowards, liars, parrots, and fools, one man or women with courage makes the majority.
And again, let me repeat, it's in the Bible. Jesus told you, you can do what I do and more. I think and I've told you that the reason the Jews hate us so much is we have something they don't. It's called a soul.
We have luminous epinoia, creative imagination. We have a soul.
I mean, when you come to grips with that, you know, a lot of you out there, you're afraid to donate. Well, I don't want to get on the list. You're already on the list, you dumb shit. You're already on the list. And by if all you're going to do, there's no reason to fear these people. They fear you. They fear you having the knowledge. And I swear to God, I can walk into a restaurant, a meeting, and the Jews in the room will come together like they're connected by a magnet and start glaring at me and start trying to put down anything I say, trying to diminish anything I say, trying to diminish my importance and my intelligence. They are scared to death of me, and they're scared of you. They're scared of you knowing who they are, knowing that they're archons, knowing that you got a direct connection with God. You don't have to take my word for nothing. Ask him. Ask God. He's within you. If somebody said, Clay, aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid of God? You know, why would I fear my Father? And I'm not afraid of the false gods either, because I know who they are. I know what they are. Illuminate on that. Elucidate on that, Russell.
Well, it's a fact, because God not only is with you, God is you. You are a center of expression of the primal will to the good, which eternally creates and maintains the universe. You are one with the Father. You just don't know it. I'm not talking about your personality. I'm talking about your higher self that writes the script or the novel of your life. What I would suggest is ask your higher self, in the name of Jesus, to make the rest of your life one of awareness and one of spiritual and material abundance. And it will be so. And if you believe it, if you see yourself, if you focus on it, being successful in your endeavors, if you concentrate on it and feel the joy of it, emotionalize it, Don't control that emotion. Let it run wild. And you see yourself living in spiritual and material abundance. It will be so, or it is already so the minute you thought it. You see, thoughts are powerful, and subtle thoughts are the most powerful. It will manifest in third-dimensional reality, this matrix, in time. It won't happen overnight, but if you want to expedient and hurry up the process, do it while you're going to sleep, especially during the twilight sleep, at the hypnagogic state, as you're falling into sleep. You're half awake and half unconscious. That's when you do it. Do it every night, whatever you want in your endeavors. And it will be so. And if enough of us did it, if more than 2 or 3 are gathered in the name of Jesus, as Jesus said, in other words, to be positive, it will be so. It will happen. Imagine all the Jews being shipped on a slow boat to China and with a hole in it, and the boat's all sinking to the bottom of the sea. Imagine it. It may happen if enough of us do it. Imagine Satan himself, the leader, the current leader of these diabolical subhumanoid Jews, sinking to the bottom and drowning. It will happen, because thoughts are powerful, and as I said, so thoughts are powerful. See, when you talk about Jesus, you heard this so many times from your preachers, that if someone doesn't accept Jesus in their life, they can't be saved. Well, let me tell you something. That on the surface is a lie. However, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. And what he's basically saying in that statement, however clandestinely, is that if you follow the 50 cosmic and spiritual laws of the universe, which can be summed up in Jesus' golden rule, do unto others the way you would want them to do unto you, you're saved. Whether you ever heard the name of Jesus or not, if you follow those rules, you're saved. That's the way it is. Other than that, you could do whatever the fuck you want. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. You can see me do a lip sync of that video on my Facebook page, which is Facebook Speaks One. I'm sorry. Facebook.com /Phoenix Speaks One.
Got it.
Yep. I'm not here to play games. Like Clay said, we don't make money from doing this. We do it for the highest and greatest good of all. What do you think? Do you think we're benevolent? No. We know that we're part of the all. So if everyone else is happy, we're going to be happy. If everyone else succeeds, we're going to succeed. And this way, everyone's happy and everyone lives at peace within themselves. Folks, I could say this in another way, too. If freedom is to live, Zion must die. There's no question, and all its works, and all those who follow it or adhere to it, they must die a death. A death, and many of them don't have souls, so it's not just a death of the soul. They got to be expelled from the United States, which is a hard task. They've been expelled from 109 countries since 250 A.D. Wake up, smell the gefilte fish, alienate yourself from the Jew and the Judeo-Christian fake, phony coward that they are. Stop doing their bidding. They're liars. They're poor parrots.
Now, it's interesting here.
Nothing is impossible, folks.
One of my fans here, one of the people in the chat room, says Jon Stewart's brother is head of the New York Federal Reserve. They're like hornets around a nest, and Clay is the bug spray. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, the...
yep, right on the money.
This gated communities, this Mars thing, and they talk about it, the same thing with Alfred Labermont or Weber. He says, all as with the other major false flag in the 20th and 21st century, like September 11, 2001, 9/11, the hidden controllers have embedded coded public notice of this false flag in memes around Illuminati cards, movies, TV, media, music, Bible prophecy, rapture, ascension, CERN, demonic portals, ET, invasion, false flags, killer asteroid, jade helm, Georgia guidestones, depopulation to 500 million humans, one world religion, peace and security, Antichrist, and the second coming of Christ. The Illuminati know what is coming on September 22nd to 28th, 2015. This kind of coincides with what David Koss, Dr. Decharge, has talked about the moon, or moving the moon, or destroying the moon, or an asteroid hitting, something like that. And of course, we've got these solar flares. All they got to do is stir up the sun's activity and send, solar flare our way, and wipe out all of our electronics, all of our computers, all of our internet. And the Illuminati cards, some of which explicitly refer to the September 23rd, 2015 false flag event. It's embedded in popular movies like Even Almighty, Ghostbusters, Knowing Tomorrowland, Deep Impact, Black President, Left Behind, Gone Girl, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, the number 23 TV shows, Third Rock from the Sun, Lost, and of course your toys are your Lego dimensions and CERN, music, Beyonce, more. And you talked about that, Russell. You found references to 9/11 on The Simpsons before it happened, didn't you?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm glad you mentioned that. And even more important than The Simpsons, all those animated cartoons, they show you the towers going down. But the granddaddy of all, the classic, is a movie from 1998, The Long Kiss Goodnight, with the lovely Gina Davis and Samuel Jackson. When the head CIA or the Illuminati character captures them, and Samuel Jackson finds out about a plan to destroy the World Trade Center, to destroy the Twin Towers, and he says to the Illuminati CIA figure, "You'll never get away with it." And he says, "Oh yes, we will. We'll just blame it on the Arabs." Folks, they tell you what they're going to do in the movies, but you forget because your attention spans and your memories and your cerebral cortex is damaged by the fluoride in the water, the aluminum in the water, the contrails, the chemtrails, the brainwashing and dumbing down of the school systems, the Talmud vision, the effects of the television mind control where you slip into the alpha state and become mesmerized and susceptible to the images, the flowing of images across your television set. Folks, you've been fucked. There's no other better way to put it. Mind fucked. And you don't want to wake up, and you can't accept the facts because of you suffer from cognitive dissonance, which is the ability to absorb anything new that will alter your belief systems that are not really your belief systems, because you have no belief systems. You have the same bullshit systems of belief that are not yours, that were acculturated and impregnated into your distorted brains by your parents, who also were hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and mind fucked. And their parents. Folks, do you want this to happen to your children? We did a show last week of how the Jews who run Hollywood and TV are making animated cartoons trying to convince your kids that the alternate lifestyle of homosexuality is normal and that it's their choice. Now there's a law. Another source told me, a good friend in New York, that if you try and try and convert homosexuals back to normal people, because there are clinics for this, they outlaw the clinics. But it's okay for them to make the American male into a Judaized, emasculated homosexual, or an aloha, as I call it, a robo-sapien, a stupefy, a non-thinker, someone could only think inside the box, who, when he lifts his head out of the box to see what's going on, he blinks because he's so afraid. Folks, you're living in fucking Plato's cave. YouTube Plato's Cave, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, Plato's Cave, the great philosopher, the grandson of Solon, who I know for a bona fide fact was in a previous incarnation. Folks, the time is now. The time has come today. Weak hearts can go their way.
Let me ask you.
Put it off another day.
Let me ask you a question here, Russell. Go
ahead.
If reincarnation is true, isn't it possible that there's advanced beings, humans on this planet that can remember and possibly prepare for their next incarnation? That would mean that Jesus may have come back 2 or 3 times. It may mean that the Tesla is just sitting there in the corner wondering when you're going to notice him, or same thing with Jesus. Incarnation. And this is what I wrote about in the Lucifer series, about Lucifer being able to come back and recreate in recreated bodies, DNA, passed on, and that intellect that never dies. This is the immortality they're talking about. And I've died 2 or 3 times, Russell. I came back down that tunnel with the light at the end of it, and came back into a damaged body, but one that was still functioning. Go ahead.
Clay, it's not possible. It's more than probable. Let me make a statement. You always heard me say that the Jews should make reparations for the African slave trade. And I'll get the argument that, well, those weren't the same Jews. Those Jews are dead. No, they're not. Because I believe that the 13 families that rule the earth, rule the world, headed by the Pindar, or the alleged Pindar, the current Rothschild, is really the old Rothschild. Because I believe, if you notice, these 13 families always keep the wealth. How is that possible? How is that possible due to happenstances or circumstance, as people say? It's possible because they know the secrets. They know how to reincarnate again into their own families. This is why one of my daily prayers are, Heavenly Father Christos, when I pass and go into the shadow of the valley of death and you deliver me and I come back to earth to learn more lessons, please let me remember the lessons of this lifetime. You don't have to tell me the circumstance, but let me remember, and whenever I go to make the same mistake again, let my conscience or my soul impede me. Let it stop me and let me know, let me get a glimpse of the ramifications of making the mistakes that one makes in this world of strife, sorrow, of ups, downs, inclines, declines. See, folks, life is a journey, a never-ending highway, and you're driving a car. That car is your body. After 60, 80 years, more or less, that car will break down. Your body will break down. But fret not, because you will get a new one. The key is this. Along this journey, you will meet many people, friends, acquaintances, enemies. And let me say something about enemies. A man's character should not be judged by the number of friends, by the number of his enemies, because this world is evil. Folks, the key is you'll meet lovers, many of them. You'll think this is it, this is your soulmate, unadulterated bullshit. Don't get attached to any of it. You can act like you do and enjoy it, savor it, embrace it, but know that it's fleeting. Eventually, she'll be gone or he'll be gone. If you could accept that fact, you will become, as I have become, a master of the fracking wheel. A master of the wheel of life.
You know, I have said, Russell, I don't know if I've got a real vivid imagination or a real good memory. I write about things that scientists, archaeologists now come forth and come forward and say, this could have happened, this could have happened, and I wrote about it 45 years ago before computers, before the internet. I think it's memory. I think it's memory. I think I was there. I think I watched planets explode. You call it the asteroid belt.
I was looking at something on there. Oh, by the way, Clay, when you get a chance, go to my Facebook page. That girl, that Russian girl.
Yeah.
She sent me another photo this morning and a message telling me that she really loves me. You got to see the photo.
I'll take a look.
But anyway, I'm looking for something on here. The fact remains, like I was trying to, I can't find it now. There's so much. I have maybe 4,000 posts on Facebook. You'll only see maybe 1,500 of them unless you see show all stories. A lot of them are repetitive because you got to keep on repeating something. See, the way to wake up people, folks, is you got to keep sticking it in their face. Just like the Illuminati or the Jewish, the Jew world order sticks to the same news in your face that the Arab Muslims are bad people. Come on, and yet they show you in their movies, in their TV shows, and watching the show Oz. The greatest character on the show, the only really good guy, is the Muslim Saeed, who is not prejudiced or not racist. They're telling you that they're good, you know, and you know, but while they show you in the picture that they're good, they're telling you overtly and verbalizing that they're bad. It's like that drug commercial that shows you the grandparents dancing around with their grandchildren, and meanwhile you're mesmerized by the flow of images that you don't hear what they're saying in the background, that the fracking drug is worse than the malady that you now have, and it's going to cause more. Folks, you've been had, taken, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. How many fucking times do I got to say it before you wake up and smell the fracking gefilte fish?
All right, let me, I found this on your website. I found this on your website, Russell. Hold on a second, let me play this, because I wrote this for you over 45 years ago.
Light
didn't get a chance to play that for you at first at the beginning of the show.
I love that. That was pretty nice, Mike.
Well, you've done a great,
very nice.
You've done a great video on that, and I've just put that on pretty much on the top of my website. It's very important. You know, again, I wrote that, and the character Solomon, I wrote a whole book around this, and the character's name was Solomon, and in a future time, after they legalized marijuana in 46 states, the Christians moved to the 4 states where drugs were still illegal, and the rest of the country, they abolished all the laws against victimless crimes. They closed down the prison systems, and people were able to grow and produce whatever they wanted. If you live up in Colorado, up at the top of a mountain, you could grow cocaine there. You know, to me, that's the way. What we need is a real free trade agreement.
Absolutely.
And the tear down that fence between us and Mexico, that ain't designed to keep illegals out, obviously. It's designed to keep us in.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's, now...
You there?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here. Just adding...
You know, I was there in Mexico maybe 5 to 10 times. 5, 6, 7. Plus the Yucatan. And I always had great experiences with Mexican people. In fact, one time I was in a dance contest in Cancun with my ex-wife, and I was pretty limber because I could always do a side split 180 degrees, bounce up and down in it from my martial arts background. So we got in the top 10. And I went to this Spanish guy, a Mexican guy. He was, I showed him a picture of my wife's grandson, who was actually my step-grandson, who I raised at the time, who was half Mexican, and the guy loved me. And when everyone went to get a drink, he would stop pouring, and he would get underneath the table and take out the Cuervo, right? So he said to me, I'm going to get you into the dance contest. How can you do it? He said, well, you're a good dancer, first of all, and I want you to win. He got me into the top 5. There was 2 contestants left. Like, listen to this shit. I was so fracking drunk that when I went to do the split, and my wife was pissed, the ex-wife says, we would have won, but you couldn't get up from the split. I was so fracked up. So I had a lot of good times in Mexico, except once I'm a very powerful swimmer. Like my grandson, whose birthday was yesterday, he's 5. He swims in deep 15 feet of water without no tube, without nothing. He's a superstar. He's only 5, but I almost drowned in Acapulco because I swam out to this rocks about 500 feet from where I was supposed to, and I couldn't get back for the undertow. I made it back, but I used my head. And another time in Cozumel, when I was staying at the El Presidente, I went out on a day because the fish were unbelievable in that water, all colors. I almost didn't get back, but there, but by the grace of God, go I. But the people in Mexico were always very nice to the Phoenix. Very nice. I guess I have that way about me or whatever, but they were nice. Even in France, the people were nice. But in France, I spent a lot of money. A lot of money.
Now,
so, anytime you hear... You there, Clay?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Clay?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Anytime you hear on the media that the people in France or the people in Mexico are all criminals or they hate you, well, I didn't experience that at all. In fact, I was treated like gold in France. I bought a cane in France with a blackjack in it, a spring blackjack. They wanted, I forget what they wanted, the equivalent of about $800. He gave it to me for $4 with very little haggling. He said, you're all right. He says, you're not like the regular Americans. I said, the regular Americans stink. Who we kidding? He loved that. I said, they're mind control slaves. And yet, you know what? We say the Israelis stink. Yeah, most of it they do. But you know what? I never forget there was a men's shop in Plainview, Long Island, where I lived. 2 Israelis owned it. They were really nice to me. Whoever they were talking to when I walked in that store, I mean, I spent money, but they still knew. They liked my style. And they knew how I felt. They knew how I felt, but they respected me. And if things were so good in Israel, they wouldn't have been here. So, everything again, like I said, everything we've been taught is a lie. That's why we have this show, folks, which gets me to say, and Clay, don't talk for a minute, please. This is important. This show is a show, it's a wake-up show. It should be called Wake Up America. Not Free America, because Free America is not free. America is not free. It's a kosher sewage plant, a totalitarian dictatorship, a collective oligarchy, an Orwellian police state. It should be called Wake Up America. We do this for the greatest good of all. Like I said earlier, of which we are a part. We all profit by it. We profit emotionally. We make people happy. We wake them up. We don't get paid for this. And this show costs money. It's not free. Nothing is free. So, folks, please, send Clay a fracking donation. I don't care if it's $5, $10, $100, $150, $500, $2. Whatever you can. Keep us afloat. There's a war on small business and a war on the middle class in America. We ain't driving BMWs anymore. I know I ain't. So, folks, help us out. Send in a donation for Clay. He really needs it to stay afloat. You see the aggravation today? The show turned out great, but you see the aggravation we've been going through for the last 3 weeks on these shows, especially when I'm on it, because me, forget about it. I don't hold nothing back. You know, and neither does Clay. But you see the aggravation that we had to get it going with the phone calls? Clay telling me, call on the other number, and I am. I know the drill. We need money to stay afloat. We need to perfect this so we don't have the problem. If we had some money, we could attract guests on here, big, powerful guests, more so than we have. Help us out. Send in your donation today. Well, and if you need money, if you're one of those, if you're a business owner and you need money, I can get it for you. Just email me at rjppapa@yahoo.com. That's rjppapa@yahoo.com. If you're actively engaged in business and you're doing volume every month and you could show them bank statements, I can get you money within 8 to 10 business days, even if your credit stinks. The interest stinks, but I'll be straight with you because that's how I am. I'm straight. However, if you have good credit and you can't get it from the bank, which the bank don't want to give it to you anyway, I don't care what your credit score is, and you want $300,000-$400,000 as a business loan at low interest, I could do that for you too, if you have a business project. So email me at rjppapa@yahoo.com. That's all P's. rjppapa@yahoo.com. Oh, yeah, baby, come to Papa. Next, if you folks out there who can't get out to work and know how to operate a computer, obviously you're listening to the show, so you know how to. If you know how to copy and paste, contact me. I can show you how to make money from home, 30% commission. By just posting ads 5 minutes a day on Craigslist. First 3 days will be 15 minutes. After that, it's 5 minutes a day. You just renew your ads every 2 days. You don't even do it every day. And you will make money. It'll take time because we will get leads. Just contact me, rjppapa@yahoo.com. Send me your cell phone number or a number I can reach you at, and I'll call you. And we'll get it on. Go ahead, Clay.
Well, you're right. We do need help. And you're sitting there wondering, what can we do? What can I do? I mean, this is probably the scariest thing, is that I'm just a man. I'm all alone. When I said something about this, and somebody jumped on me. They put me down for listening to Clay Douglas. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's just like the one of the heads in the government of Israel said, anti-Semitism, that's a trick we always use. They do that to put you down, to keep you from being effective. And they've got 2,000 years of history. They were conning the people walking on the street with Jesus into donating money to a god, to a statue here. We'll put in a good word with you for God. You can, you don't have to have a preacher or a rabbi or a priest to tell you about God. If you've got a creator, you talk to him yourself. And I tell you, don't believe anything I tell you. Don't believe anything Russell tells you. Study it, check it out for yourself. And everything we've told you is
not just that, Clay.
What's that?
People think they... But
Go ahead. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, you know what people talk about, they got to be baptized to be saved. Yeah, they do, but not by a priest. You never know where the priest's hands were before he put his hands in the holy water. Oh, my God, I can just imagine. Folks, let me tell you the real meaning of baptism. Baptism means this. It's a symbolic cleansing with symbolic water of all the dogma and the lies, the disinformation and the misinformation that is impregnated into your mind patterns by the powers that be. You got to wash that out. Only then can you reconnect with your higher self and hence reconnect with your true creator, which is not Yahweh. That's a baptism. And as I said many times, the word church, know your etymology, comes from the Scottish word kirk, which comes from the Greek word Cerstes, who lured wayfarers, sailors, those seeking salvation outside of themselves, which was a no-no, into her bed, got them drunk on the wines of illusion, and turned them into pigs. And trust me, folks, when you shut your TV sets, the screens reflect piggies. It's time to wake up.
What we're talking about here with the September 24th, 2015 event is basically this. Will an asteroid or a meteor hit the Earth on September 24th, 2015? And David Kosh, who comes on my show and is a fan of the show on a regular basis, he's warned about this, a moon imploding or something like that. In September of this year, we kind of just take that with a little, yeah, maybe, God, I guess that could happen. But, and we would question his sources. Listen to this.
Pipeline of the 70s made friends with many of the ruling elite. He was told that the elite consider themselves to be gentlemen and think not informing the general public of their plans is unsportsmanlike. That they need to tell the people, so they use news and movies to put forth their fair warning. Okay? Now, who's the most subtle beast of the field? So, are we expected to see the ruling elite come out on worldwide television and say, there's a meteor coming? No. Instead, they're going to do it very subtly, because that's the way the beast speaks, okay? Very subtly. This makes them feel empowered to see their victims totally helpless and unable to prevent their own demise after given fair warning. So, have the elite given us fair warning that there is a meteor coming? Have they? I'm going to say yes, we have been warned. It's called Deep Impact. It came out May 8, 1998. That date's important. Unless a comet can be destroyed before colliding with the Earth, only those allowed to be in shelters will survive. Will people survive? And by the way, the lead actor was Morgan Freeman, a black president. dating it. And they can't tell the population for fear the population will go into panic. The world elite then begin to prepare survival underground bunkers. In October 2005, Stephen Dollins was thrust into a global scene. When the Lord showed him the Illuminati card game, predicted many events of the past and future, and he made the very popular DVD Illuminati game Blueprint for World Domination. Today, there are many websites dedicated to just the Illuminati cards. Do the Illuminati cards speak about a meteor, about a tidal wave? In the early 1990s, the Secret Service attempted to stop the distribution of this deck of cards called Illuminati New World Order. Would you believe? One of them says that there's going to be a meteor strike and a tidal wave. 2 months after the Deep Impact, this came out. The second movie, In the Mouth of Two or Three Witnesses. They told us they made 2 movies about it. This Armageddon, after discovering an asteroid the size of Texas is going to hit Earth in less than a month, NASA requires a team of deep core drillers to go up into this asteroid and drill into it and put a nuclear weapon and explode it and save the Earth. Well, the point is, there's 2 movies about a meteor hitting the Earth. He was told that the elite consider themselves to be gentlemen.
Now, isn't this exactly what Russell was telling you about 9/11? Now, we go back and see Armageddon, Deep Impact. There's more on there. I've seen 2 or 3 more movies about the electricity going out all over the planet, and of course this asteroid strike. And will this can we deconstruct this? Can we stop it from happening? If you tell enough people about it, you might be able to here. And we've got,
Clay, you know what's interesting? That movie Deep Impact had a black president.
Yep.
And that shows you how it'll go. It had a black president, and who was played by Morgan Freeman. Of course, they made him look like a good guy. You know the Obama role, which Obama is no good guy. And the Illuminati board game is the most fun. I bought it when it came out. And guess what? You're going to love this. You're allowed to cheat in the game. So when you're playing against an opponent, you're allowed to move the pieces without, if you could get away with it without him seeing it. It's allowed. You can't be disqualified. You're allowed to cheat. Hilarious game. And they do have, the media in there, too. They have it all. They tell you years in advance. So, by the way, if you want to know about what's told in movies, is always telling you what's going to happen in the future, because they plan it by the book by a Yuri something or other. It's called Hoodwinked. I was good friends with Yuri. He was an art dealer. We had great conversations on the phone. I bought about 40 of those books and gave them to clients, to customers when I was in the mortgage business to wake them up. It's called Hoodwinked. The author's first name is Yuri. I forget his last name. Great guy.
You know, I've been telling you the truth through this radio show, through my magazines for years. They tried to stop that. They tried to end that. If you understand that everything we've told you, everything Russell talks about on Friday and everything I talk about in the meantime is absolutely accurate. Let's see, we got a call coming in. Let me bring this up. It may be a sales call. They're calling in on my Skype. Let's see who it is. Hang on. Hello, who are you? What can I do for you?
Hello, Clayton.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Raphael here with Results National. I was giving you a quick call today because so that you could utilize some capital for your business. You can do some additional funding, right?
No, thank you. I don't need any of your capital. And we've got somebody on my show right now that does the same thing that you do, except I know him and he's honest. No, don't call me again. Goodbye.
Okay. Yeah.
How was that? All right, we'll block that number. Russell. They must have heard you out here. They were trying to compete with you, son of a gun.
Yeah, I'm well aware what they're doing. Competing with me is a tough game.
Now let me see. We got 8 minutes left. This video is on the same link that I've got up on the website about this whole global extinction event. And there's a panel going on. They're talking about Jade Helm, monetary research, Yellowstone seismic warfare. Now, this whole Yellowstone...
Welcome back. I'm Alfred Leront Weber, and I'm here today with our distinguished colleague and friend, a foremost hermeneuticist, Peter Kling. Welcome, Peter.
Alfred, a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm not so sure it's a pleasure to be back from where I was.
Now, Peter Kling has been on my show before. You can go to Blog Talk and find it. Peter Kling is talking with Andrew Alfred Weber, who's also been on my show. Folks, this is why they don't want you to listen to me, Russell. They don't want you going to the Free American. Try going into a library. Take your computer in that library and try to log into freeamerican.com. This is real. They don't want you listening to me. They're scared to death. They are trying to protect you. They're trying to enslave you.
I made a venture off into God's country, literally, and it was difficult coming back to begin with. And then your list of questions for tonight's subject really kind of brought the reality home, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I think I'll go back. But my little fishing adventures, so to speak, produced results, and that's the important thing. It's something that
Now, do you want to share with the audience what the context is? The context of this program is that you have set a date where you're going off grid, and so that every now and then we would have a program sort of as a countdown, because one day,
one day there's not going to be another day. We're going to talk about
another day. And why is that you're going to go off grid? What is the date that not the date that you're going to go off grid, but the date that you're looking at that you've got to go off grid before then? And why is that? Just to bring people into the know of what's going down here in this panel, in this discussion.
Let's take a look at some significant things, first of all, that are happening and have happened within the last 12 months, and will happen within the next 6.
Right.
First, we've been through this Tetrad Moon, Tetrad Blood Moon eclipse, along with specific solar eclipses or partial solar eclipses on specific Hebrew holidays. And even before these eclipses started, you and I had discussions that the world would be very different by the time we got to the last eclipse, correct?
Which is scheduled for when?
Which is scheduled for September 28th, 2015, this year. Coincidentally, it is also the closing day of the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations, in which they will adopt the post-2015 development agenda, which consequently will be blessed by the Pope. The Pope will be visiting the United States during the same time period. On the 23rd of September, he meets with Obama. On the 24th, he meets with the U.S. Congress. Never before, this is historic, never before has a Pope come before the Congress of the United States. And I want you to think about the significance of this. We have spent the last 50 years separating church and state. And now
the biggest religionist on the planet is going to be speaking to Congress. Interestingly enough, there are 3 city-states independent of all rule on the face of the planet. They are Washington, D.C., London, England, and the Vatican. And we know the Queen, being a Dame of Malta, is a subject of the Vatican and in servitude to the Pope.
And that covers everything we've told you over the last week. Russell, we got 3 minutes. Finish up, sir.
Folks, our audience is primarily comprised of people who have our mindset, an open mind, who know that there are none more hopelessly enslaved than those who believe that they have freed the American people. But there are several of you out there who disagree with me. So what I'd like to say unto you is, frankly, I don't give a frack. It's a thing of no interest. The opinions of lesser men, cowards, poor parrots, and fools are of no interest to men of the stature of myself and Clay, and those of our listeners who agree. And to those who agree, I commend you. As I've said many times, you're the lights at the end of a very dark and dangerous tunnel. I would not see the bank accounts of my brothers and sisters stripped of capital. I would not see them thrown into FEMA camps as depicted as that is spreading out all across this once great nation. I would not see their bodies thrown into FEMA coffins as depicted in the murals that line the walls of Denver International Airport. Nay, I would not have it so. Blood demands blood. Action demands reaction. But I'm a staunch advocate of free will. The choice is yours. You can go back to your sofas, to your couches, to your recliners. Have another couple of drinks. Have a Xanax, pop an Oxycontin, and pretend that all is well, even though deep in your heart of hearts you know that it is not. But there is another choice. You could join me and Clay, and together we can make the mighty Zionist empire on the Potomac, your Potomac, in the District of Conspiracy, Washington, D.C., the den of deceit, tremble, crumble, and fall. That's all, folks. The Phoenix has spoken.
And I second that emotion. God bless you all. FreeAmerican.com to make a donation. Do it today.